Hi, Will Brewer here, HVACR Application Engineer with ABB. In this video on adaptive programming, we're going to take a look at the input blocks. When you begin to edit your program, you will be able to find the inputs available here on the left. To start, adaptive programming is open to the physical I/O of the drive. By default, the ACH580 has 6 digital inputs and 2 analog inputs. To start and use the inputs, you hover your mouse over top of the block that you want, click, and drag it out to the base program. Input blocks will be connected to the left of function blocks, while output blocks will be on the right. If you have multiple blocks, you can drag the output of one block to be the input of another block. One feature of the input blocks is you can add a tag or comment to describe what that input is in your program. You will see there are 2 different types of shapes for the function blocks. These align with the shapes of the inputs. The add block here can only take in analog inputs, while the and block can only take in digital inputs. If you click on the drop-down arrow for each type of input, the menu will change. Now let's take a look at constants. Here is the numerical constant, which is what it sounds like. It is just a numerical value. You can double-click the value and change it to a number that you want to use. The range of this field will be outlined with a red border to let you know if the value is allowed. Boolean values are true-false inputs. Double-clicking on the 0 will change it to a 1 to be a true statement. Another feature of the Boolean input is this dash before it. This is used to invert the state of a Boolean. You can use this to be a not value of the true statement in this block, which seems redundant since you can just change that to be a 0. This is useful for other inputs instead of having to use the not block to change the logical state. Parameters are values that can be selected from any of the drive's parameters, either analog or digital. When you bring out the parameter value, double-click, and it'll open up this menu that you can use to select a parameter from the drive. Here, I'm going to look at parameter 1.6 output frequency. For parameter bit, the Boolean values, again, double-clicking brings open the menu, and you can see the digital state of a parameter in the value. Here there are a lot of options available. If you come into the status word to find a number of different options. Let's set it to drive enabled. For actual values, these are predefined common values that could be used. For example, output frequency is already here. We wouldn't need to select output frequency from parameter 1.6. To remove a block, you can select it and hit delete on the keyboard, and now we can bring out a predefined block. Similarly, the status values are digital input status, again, predefined typical values. So here, instead of mapping a parameter to 6.16-bit 0 for enable, I will click delete and bring out the drive enabled status. Last for inputs is data storage. These are values in parameter group 47 that can be used to manually set a value, or later in the outputs section, we can write a value to digital storage. So from the adaptive program, a number could be stored in the drive and called back to again by the same program. One more note about inputs. The type of inputs or the number of inputs available in adaptive programming will be dependent on the drive you are connected to. In this demo, I am connected to an ACH580, so I see 4 data storage points available in adaptive programming. If you're having to be using an ACS880, for an example, you may see 8 data storage points available. Again, this is dependent on your drive type. And that about wraps it up for inputs. If you'd like to learn more about adaptive programming, check out the videos linked in the description below. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to your local ABB representative.